Hi, welcome to Comic Talk.
I'm Joshua.
And I'm Drew, and this is our weekly pull list review for August 17th. Alright, this week we have 4 titles to talk about. Foe. We got Batman number 5. From Marvel, we have Power Man and Iron Fist number 7.
Seb. S-E-B apostrophe and Seb.
7. 2 Image titles. The first one's Descender number 14. 14. We've been reading this over a year now.
I think we started late, didn't we? We got another.
We did.
7.
So we read a bunch. That's why. Last but not least, we have I Hate Fairyland number 8. So we'll start off with Rebirth. We'll talk about Batman. This is the only DC title we currently have left in our pull list. Mm-hmm. It's Tom King, Finch, Hope, Banning, and Bel Air. And
the Gotham dude still freaking the fuck out. And then something happened with the Gotham girl, and she's like afraid of everything now. And so Batman's trying to kill the Gotham dude, and the Justice League shows up.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the writing isn't even that great. It feels like rushed Tom King. You know, the dialogue itself still feels good, still feels weighty, like someone is actually saying it. Which in a lot of superhero comics, you get that verisimilitude, that slight separation from reality where it doesn't really ever sound like a person would actually talk. This manages to feel conversation-y, almost. It's like halfway between like normal Tom King and like Brian Bendis.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. So maybe Tom King, when he's rushed, he writes like Brian Bendis.
When he half-asses things, it comes out like Bendis.
Which, that's not a hit, because I love Bendis' early work. I haven't read like his newer stuff, but I love his old stuff.
I read a little bit of Miles Morales. It's relatively new.
Yeah, that's true, and it was still good. I liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the story is still goofy.
What I didn't like about it is it seemed so like scattershot and mandated and stuff, and the things that we kind of liked earlier about it, like we discussed how the Gotham people were finding out that like Batman is like the right hero for the city, right? Because like he's just a dude. Like that was the whole like moral that we were building up to. And then the fucking Justice League shows up.
Right, a bunch of super powered beings need to step in and help him.
Yeah, they have like Superman, who thus far that's like the facsimile of like the character and stuff. So it completely negated the purpose of I think what it was trying to negate or portray rather. Yeah, that was silly. Just overall, I'm not pleased.
Me neither.
We talked about because Joker's coming in at 9. I don't know that I want to read 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah, that's 2 months of reading this, and it's just not really delivering. It could be that this is the start of like really pushing Batman over the edge that he was talking about, where like it was supposed, like I can see that maybe it's supposed to lead you to think that, okay, Batman's the right guy for the job, and then he's not. Like he failed here and needed to call in the Justice League. But
it's too rushed for that.
Right.
We had like half an issue of him struggling with this, and that was about it.
Right.
I mean, 4 or 5 issues down the line, if they showed up, I would say, okay.
Yeah, he's really failing. Like watch him go down the drain, I guess.
Yeah, and come up with like multiple plans and try to implement them, and then they fucking backfire and stuff. So he has to go back, and then that would be understandable.
Yeah, it just feels roughshod, haphazard. Mm-hmm. I'm not digging it. What do you do? Artistically, it's okay. It's nothing great. It's not even above average. It's very standard kind of stuff.
Put it on the upside average.
Maybe.
Barely.
I don't know. I liked... the only thing artistically that I really loved was Alfred in the bat suit.
Yeah.
I thought that looked really great, the way it was too big for him and kind of
he looked like
rumpled.
The Dale Gribble in the bat suit.
Yeah, I liked that a lot with his mustache too.
Yeah.
Lay bat. So that was pretty good. And And I was kind of back and forth on a lot of the like monologuiness of this one, where there's a whole lot of people talking out loud to nobody that felt forced. Like what they were saying and how they said it felt good, but it was so cartoony. It's weird to see Tom King writing so cartoony. Like Alfred driving in the Batmobile for a whole page talking to himself in this sarcastic, you know, like his sarcastic conversation with Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, the boxes in general, from what I've seen, aren't really King's style.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they're all over this fucking issue.
Yeah, just strange book. I'm not really digging it.
No. Let's move on.
All right. Power Man and Iron Fist number 7. This is Walker Green, Flaviano, and Rausch again.
We're continuing from last issue. Danny's in jail, and everybody's kind of fretting over that, and there's the mysterious piece of hardware that they're figuring out.
This is a slightly more serious issue than previously. There's a lot less humor.
It's a lot more serious.
Yeah.
It doesn't even feel like the same book.
It doesn't. And honestly, I wasn't that happy about that fact. It really, so far, the big draw of this, there's been 2 big draws. One is the characterizations of diverse ethnicity, which has been a lot of fun. There's like this huge diversely ethnic cast that comes through
culturally as well.
Yeah, and it comes through feeling very real and honest and not like caricatures. And it still manages that. But the other half is just the dead-on humor that it's had, and this issue just didn't have any of that.
No. And it also introduced, I mean, we got like a whole laundry list of new characters. Like the first half of the issue was really like setting up new characters, and it kind of did the thing where, you know, it says their name and then something about them. But up till now, it's so selective with how that's been implemented that usually the way they're described is very clever, and, you know, and at least, you know, a good chuckle, a sensible chuckle. But there was just so many fucking times it happened and it just ended up,
and it's very straightforward this time too.
Yeah. So like halfway through the issue, I just had to really do like a mental reset and say, okay, this isn't like the same tone that you're used to, so stop judging it like by that criteria. I don't know if I really was able to do that. Yeah,
I had the same reaction. Somewhere maybe a third of the way through the title, I sort of said the same exact thing to myself. This is clearly not going to be the same thing, and I also had to stop for a moment and kind of, I looked over the page and you know, decided to give it a fresh start from that point on, and honestly it just kind of bored me. It was kind of a boring issue.
It was weird going too shallow with some characters, and I mean, I don't want to say too deep with others, but it just seemed like context was just so everywhere that it was hard to really get invested in these little bits of really weighty issues.
I did like a few things. I liked that we're seeing Luke Cage's old personality coming back a little bit. Like he's starting to get pissed off, and we're seeing him break loose a little bit from the reformed family dad kind of thing. He's so I like that and what that could mean, just because I love that character so much, and I like Jessica's describing how he used to be is extremely accurate. I love the description of you get angry and then you don't think straight, you know, and that's like a real classic Luke Cage thing. He'd get mad and hold a grudge, and just there's nothing you can do. Like there was a time Dr. Doom owed him $200, and he went and like infiltrates Latvia and busts through like all of Doom's soldiers. You know, have you ever seen this?
No.
So he gets all the way to Doom, and Doom's like, "What do you want?" And it's like, "I want my fucking $200." You know, it's like this had to have cost you more than $200 just to get here. It's a huge ordeal.
It's the principle of the matter.
You know, it's the principle of the thing. You know, you owe me $200.
That's awesome.
So I like seeing that come back a little bit, where he's just on principle. He's pissed off, and now he's going to try to right things, and probably in a ridiculous way. But So that could lead to a great story, but it's not in
It's
this
not here.
issue. Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see, I think. This was really boring, but I want to give it another issue to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I think this is the first issue that we've had from this that I really don't feel that strongly about. So, I mean, this is the 7th one, so 6 hits and a miss. I mean, I think we're still in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I think so too. So let's move over to Image. We'll talk about Descender number 14 from Lemire and Wynn first, just because it was on top of the pile.
This is really like a hard issue to describe. The first big chunk of it, we really don't get a lot of words, period. He uses this very clever device where he uses the little robot dog to show like not only events happening, but like aftermath events and stuff like that, and things that people obviously weren't there for, but he gets to show them because it's a little robot dog. And I really love the characterization of the little robot dog. Like, he's awesome. And then in the end, we get like a big plot point connect.
Yeah, this was a huge art showcase. This was pretty much Jeff Lemire in the back seat. He let Dustin Wynn completely. Is it Dustin? Yeah. He let Dustin
the Win.
come. Oh wow!
All we are
Dustin
is
Wynn.
Dustin the Win.
Yeah. So he really let him drive and do most of the heavy lifting here.
Everything is Dustin the Win.
Yeah, all of it, everything.
I'll stop.
So, even though there was like very little dialogue and very little writing, there's still a lot written here. Like you can tell that the script was probably nearly as long as a normal issue. It's just all being told by the artist. So he handed Wynn, here's what you need to portray, and then he just went for it. I'd also like to say that Wynn is continuing to improve. This is probably the best looking issue yet. There's a lot of clever work done in here, and it's just great. And it's gone now from the beginning of the series, where it was often a little bit hazy and difficult to tell what's going on, to really stark, clear visual representation of what's going on, even though it's still the same watercolor style. He's been doing it for 14 months now, and you can tell it's really strong.
I mean, I think he's doing like a lot more mixed or drawn stuff now than he used to. I mean, it used to be just like straight watercolor. And
there's more pencil
work.
Yeah.
He's progressed forward from that. But this series, I mean, when we first started, which again, it wasn't at the very beginning when we started reading this, it was, I don't want to say middling, but maybe like high middling, kind of hit or miss, like solid 7, but kind of bounce back to maybe like low 6 or high 5, and a little bit up on other ones. But lately, consistently, the series has been really good. I mean, Wynn gets better. I feel like Lemire gets better.
Yeah, and it's this is a very kind of soft telling in this particular issue, and it's also something I think I've seen before in the idea of, following the dog or the whatever, like, background non-human character around to see the world.
Futurama a couple times.
Yeah, I've seen it in a bunch of different media. But this character is particularly endearing for some reason. Something about like a little shiny, like iRobot looking dog.
Yeah.
That yet is very, very well programmed to be dog-like is really cute. And it's an interesting contrast with all the death and destruction that's happening around it.
While at the same time furthering the point of like, robots, like what is a life, basically. I mean, this whole thing is, trying to get us to see 1021 as like a real little boy, and then here in like basically an issue we're seeing this robot dog who doesn't even look like a dog. It's like, that's a dog.
Yeah, very clearly. I liked it quite a bit, even though it's odd. It's a strange issue, but it's well executed and fits well within the narrative, I think.
Definitely.
Let's move on to I Hate Fairyland. This is issue number 8. This is Scotty Young and Jean-Francois Ballant, as well as Chamba.
She's trying to get home still.
Shocker.
Yeah, they give eyes to a dude to get a giant coin, and they put it in a giant arcade machine. She fights a bunch of people and turns all anime/Street Fighter kind of.
So he just continues to play around with form. This is weird. They have
expectations.
They have the guest artist that comes up and shakes things up for the whole Street Fighter sequence.
Which I thought was awesome.
Which is a big chunk of the book, too. Mm-hmm. And although I admire that he's playing with the form, doing something interesting, I feel like this one really relies more than past issues on like a one-note joke, right?
I think we kind of said that about the last issue too, though.
Maybe a little, yeah.
Yeah. So it seems to be the kind of direction that he's going into, like a lot more like visual based. And then it's slight change to the humor, which honestly I preferred it a little bit before, but at least he's keeping it interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, but it's not the same level of prowess as we had for the first arc. You can tell that now I think he's just running with ideas as he goes. Mm-hmm. It's not really something that he has planned out quite as well.
Yeah, it's pulling Nick Spencer.
It shows. Mm-hmm. It's not nearly as crafted. It doesn't have the same layers as we had in the first arc. Mm-hmm. But it's still pretty great. There's still a lot of funny stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot to love. Again, changing or playing with the status quo constantly. Like, we just got the new fucking kid. We just got him.
Right, he's gone already.
Yeah.
And you just can't help but love the characterizations that he has. He's still nailing Gert and little dude whose name? Larry, thank you. He's still nailing both of those characters. They're still hilarious. They have so much character. And I love that she's not growing or changing, which I kind of like. She's been in her own skin for so long. She seems like a child. And so you constantly, it feels like she should grow and change.
But she doesn't.
She just, is always the same little piece of crap. And it's really pretty great to have a protagonist like that.
Yeah.
It's fun to see expectations unfulfilled. It's part of the charm of this.
It's almost backwards in that way. Like our protagonist, so to speak, is probably the most static character in the book.
Right.
Everything else is extremely dynamic, but not her.
Yeah.
Not her.
Yeah, nothing changes about her. So, it's still a strong humor title, but it's not...
I don't think it's going to make it in the tops for this month.
Probably not, unless we have a pretty weak month for the rest of the month. It's just pretty good. Well, I think that's it. That's our issues for this week. Oh, you know what? Black Hammer came out, issue number 2, but it was sold out and it wasn't in our poll. So, that happens from time to time, I guess. So, we'll probably just read it when we get a chance, and issue 3, hopefully, we'll be able to talk about. Check out our review of last month.
July.
We just put that up. It came out a little bit later than normal, so if you were wondering, it's there. Just look in your history or whatever.
I had this thing come up where I was lazy.
Yeah, no worries. I didn't do any of it,
really
so
got in the way.
So and then other than that, next week, are we going to do Omega Men review?
Yeah.
We've been kind of lazy with that. Neither of us have dug into it really, but
no,
we will get to it.
Yeah.
By next week, so you can see what we think of it.
Later.